I think for us from NAST, we have to view it to say skills development is a journey of 1,000 miles. Because it's very much easier to identify what skill set we need, but the how part to actually go to get those graduate attributes and also positions that speaks to the skill set is what we need to be working together. I've realized that everyone here says all the nice things. We have to work together. And the next session again, we have to work together. But no one is auditing how have we worked together. It becomes very critical. So we have to be realistic as Namibia that out of all the skill set we have, we can't do everything. Financial speaking, and also if we were to do, when we say numbers don't lie, if we were to do a Gashing distribution for the population, 2.6 million, how much of that will actually respond to the science and engineering aspect of it? You will see from grandparents to the youngsters 1 year old, it might just be a finite set. So we have to look at what are our niche areas where we can perform, and still not forget about the other areas we will build as we go. It's a process. So one aspect, then we also have to look at, like if you, for the case of last 2014, I went to my friend and stepsister now, Lillian, you know, things move from where the friend and the stepsister, because I did not get something that is coming now. Okay, we said we were going to form chemical engineering, and no one was saying, everyone was saying, even our industry advisor report from the mining industry was saying, we don't need chemical engineers, metallurgists are good enough. So we went against the advice of the advisory board. And I'm happy in 2023, in our first industrial board meeting, my good friend Feston Malango says you've been vindicated. Now with green hydrogen coming on stage and oil and gas, it's as if you already knew that this is what we need. And then one aspect from industry, which we need to correct the misinformation of ready-made graduates. I worked for Anglo, so there is no list of ready-made graduates. When we are training a chemical engineer can work in a refinery. He can work in a metallurgical plant. He can work in a paint or pharmaceutical. He can even work in a wastewater treatment plant. So you want that to be covered over 8 semesters? That's why companies have got a graduate training program for 2 years. It's mandatory. I mean, even Namibia, I'm not sure it's 3 years, some have 18 months. It's necessary, because there's really nothing to say it can be covered. Imagine if you are training an engineer, what we train is on the graduate attributes, so that they can function in any industry without a problem. I can tell you with 6 months, if you make me a bakery manager, that bakery will start performing from an engineering training. I don't know much about confectionery, but I know about systems and procedures and processes in terms of optimization. And that's what we do in training the next generation of engineers. So we need to put resources together. So from the ministry, we will need more funding. We have to walk the talk. If we can get that from petroleum fund, not that I'll ask a check after this session, but it's just a question of saying, well, let's sit down together and identify what niche areas. So if a person does metallurgy, we're talking about welders. One component of metallurgy is physical metallurgy, which talks of mechanical metallurgy, of which welding is a component. And my good brother there, Professor Johnson from UNAM, is a material science expert. We need each other. I'm a mineral processing engineer, So, metallurgical. So we need to find areas where we complement one another and focus. So it's not like we are starting from scratch. Graduates can be retrained to focus on aspects of, speaking of metallurgy. South Africa has got a training for welders, which is they are certified, and you must have a first degree or a diploma to get into that. So those are some of the aspects that we are not starting from zero. We already have the critical elements, not mass, but elements to get us going. And then the one aspect, I wish James was here. Next time, Honorable Minister, you detain people so that they sit up to the end. Because it's one time they tell us things, and we also need to tell them things as well. So I went to the green hydrogen procurement, strategic SER, they were talking about framework that they were launching in Kitmat. So, and they told us that in terms of local procurement, 30% is what is feasible in the context of Namibia. So that's a lot of money out of the 60 billion, 30%. But for me, I'm not happy with that 30%. Then they said the 30% is feasible, the other 70% is the high technology of the blade, wind turbines, how to process, and then they said we can't. But I remember my grade 1 teacher teaching me 2 minus 5, it can't. And then 7 years later, it became possible. We have to change the thinking around it. We have to. If we are to make meaningful, otherwise we confine ourselves with we do cases of resource case because we have not mastered that art of saying, if we can't, so we need to ask Nandolo wanted to say, we need that investment at our doorstep. Everyone comes to the table and make their contribution. So we do our skills part, they do the investment drive, from policy to incentive that we can bring about, Minister of Trade, everyone comes to the party and we make it work. So that in that 70%, even we get 10 or 15%, it will mean more for Namibia because of weighted approach. So 1884, the Berlin Conference, Africa did not have a seat. And right now we are talking of the just energy transition. Europe already has an energy alliance in terms of battery. From Africa, SADC, we don't have. And we talk in silos. And we say Africa will be great, Africa we want 2063. It can only be great when we start working together. And that's the only way we can actually look at it. So from that perspective, we have the Lodred's campus. That will be the focus on green hydrogen. And all the research that of which my boss, Prof. Samuel John, is the one I call him my boss because even in my phone is still saved as Jim, in as much as I am Jim. I can't put my name in my phone, so he remains my Jim. So he has been working in terms of short courses, training and development. That is rolling out to the staff and also to communities. At one time, I was speaking to members of parliament, or trying to see. So that's one element we are playing. And we have the Namibia Energy Institute, which was put by a cabinet resolution. And in their wisdom, the founding fathers, they crafted that we have an oil and gas. When it didn't make sense at that time, why would they put as a pillar in that? Renewable energy, which will speak to green hydrogen, or wind and solar, and then nuclear energy is still there as part of the 4 pillars. So in terms of being strategic thinkers in Namibia, we are there. We see beyond Vision 2030, we see beyond the horizon. But connecting the dots, how we move from point A to B is what is missing. In grade 1, you are taught, flabbergasted. No, they won't teach you flabbergasted, you run away. They teach you the vowels, R, A, E, O, the O. Oh, now I'm forgetting. And then the alphabet, the phonics. And later as you grow, you start forming these words, redundancy, optimization. They don't teach you all the words, but they teach you how to connect to form those words. And one aspect which grade 1 teachers are good at, imagine a child who is in grade 1 who is called Sam. It's just 3 letters. Then you get another child who is called Kishia Lukuma Olobambe. Is it fair for them to spell out their names, to write out their names in the first week? Surely this same can just memorize and do stuff. But our grade 1 teachers are taught well that what they do from first day, they teach them patterns connecting the dots. So they will write Sam in dots, and then Keshia Lugano in dots, and then they start playing a game, let's connect the dots. And by the end of that week, Sam knows how to pronounce, to spell his name, Bang as the others out. And Keshia Olubamugafomo also knows, because he has been playing that pattern, it's become part of him or her. So they know in terms of connecting the dots. But somewhere along the line, we miss it from academia as we grow, of saying, how do we actually? So let's sit down and, as from NCRS team to UNA, to MTA, everyone in that space, and find out what is our niche areas. We also have the HTTPS, which is there in terms of industry incubation, and seeing how best we can play a little role, and even managing in terms of the vision, green energy vision for NAST, which is already underpinned. I think in conclusion, we also have to change our mindset in terms of how we do our degrees. There's nothing that stops us, Namibia, now from having double degrees. The tradition is 4-year engineering degree, but why can't we make it 5 years or 5.5 years? And then one can graduate with a degree in mining as a major and civil engineering as a minor. But they'll cover all the disciplines in those 5.5 years. Because 4 years is standard, you will feel. Because of the common elements, you can actually see how we can do it. Other universities, Western Australia, University of Alberta, they've already moved in that direction. But here we are still offering the traditional engineering degrees. We need to actually ask ourselves, what is that we need to do? So we could actually have mining and petroleum engineering in one qualification over a 5-year period. So this is the thinking we are having at NAST, and also seeing how best we can work together. And in conclusion, I just want to urge to say, let's talk to one another. Thank you, my brother, for bringing my chair. Mr. Kandjii, I don't take that for granted. So the one aspect we are good at is to speak in our silos. The word charged. To an electrical engineer, it means you have gained or lost electrons charged. To a mining engineer, it means you have loaded explosives in your hole charged. To a lawyer, it means accusations are being leveled against you charged. To an English connoisseur, it means it's a prize or you're geared up for action charged. To a metallurgical engineer like me, it means you've put raw materials in a vessel, in a furnace, and you've charged the furnace. So we get into a meeting, we talk of charged. No one is understanding on what basis are we departing from. And this is the meeting we are having. The Honorable Minister has done well in making this. But let's not come in with a silo mentality of saying, this is us, we have to find in that time what is good for us. No. It's about what can we do for the greater good of Namibia, so that everyone understands when we say it's charged. I think from Namibia, when they say it's charged, they will run away because they think explosive have been set here. So we need each other. Thank you.